and welcome. You're watching Your Trades on ET Now with me, Snehisha, and with me as always I have Priyanka Uppal on the show. But well, let's take a look at what the markets did today, Priyanka, and well, rather lackluster day coming in for the markets after the gains that we saw coming in. At least in the first half of the trading session, we lost momentum and managed to end in fact below 25,000. Did not manage to hold to those 25,000 levels on the Nifty. Remember, it's been a more than 200 point drop coming in on the Nifty as well. Very close to the day's lowest session is where we have ended for the Nifty. Let's pull up the Sensex because that was also performing in tandem with the Nifty 50 and has ended the day in the red as well. 0.2% cut coming in on Sensex as well. It was the Nifty Bank that was bleeding away from quite early on in today's trading session. A roughly 600-650 point drop from the day's highest point for the Nifty Bank and has closed rather flat but has managed to nominally, very marginally hold above that 51,000 mark for itself. But the real show of strength today and support came in fact from the broader markets because you had Nifty mid-cap that was up by a solid 1%. Nifty small cap has outperformed the entire market today, 1.4% gains coming in for the Nifty small cap as well. There you have it on your screen. Let's take a look at some other stocks that were in focus, but before we talk about that, we have to talk about the highlight of today and the main event today where the MPC meeting outcome was declared and the RBI governor has held the rates steady, but there has been a change in stance that has shifted to neutral now. Well, yes, that was one of the top events of the day, and some brokerage notes came in that kept a lot of stocks, the likes of you had a whole host of stocks that were afloat on the back of brokerage notes. The entire AMC space was a buzz on the back of the note coming in by Nomura. You had City Upgrade coming in for Divi's Labs, so that stock also did pretty well. But Priyanka, this is what I was spotting for the market. What's
in fact, Sahi, the three factors which were at play, of course, RBI MPC first of all. Now the repo rate have been unchanged to 6.5% and RBI holded the rates for 10th consecutive time. But then there's a change of stance now. Now the stance has been changed to neutral, and that's what we saw. That the entire move came in from the real estate space. In fact, reality space was the top gainer also. You talk about three gaining sectors. First was reality on the back of Phoenix coming in, strong quarterly updates coming in. And of course, the way you said that a lot of stocks from the broader market were buzzing in trade today. Phoenix, Macrotech, even on the second, the space which was biggest gainer was Pharma, Divi's Lab, Glenmark. The kind of move, Divi's Lab was in fact flying. More than 8%, that's what the gain we saw. And that was on the back of a City report wherein many factors which you pointed out in the report was the major one was a GLP-1 opportunity. Now this opportunity size looks very huge, around about $800 million, and Divi's could be a key API supplier. That's what really excited the traders on this particular stock. And in fact, pharma space has been doing well, pretty well from last 2-3 days. If you see the moves coming in from Divi's Lab, even on Glenmark Pharma, today also Glenmark was up 3.5%. Yesterday also it was doing well. So selective pharma stocks are doing exceptionally well today also. Second stock which was a standout gainer was Torrent Power. Now they have received an LOA for another pumped storage plant capacity, and that's what drove the sentiment here also, that the stock was up more than 6%. AMC stocks we've already mentioned, but the factors which was at play was majorly because of Nomura came up with a report on and the targets they've given, and the stocks have reacted. HDFC, AMC, they've closed with gains of 5%. Nippon Life, that closed with gain of 2%. UTI AMC, a neutral rating coming in with a target price of 1,300. So these stocks on the back of the good note as well as the target price hike, these stocks did react. Now, one more key factor, Hyundai India, largest IPO of the India, of course, one of the largest IPO it could be possibly, but these are the one IPO which will be keenly watched because it's coming after almost 2 decades from the automobile pack. The listing date has come in, valuation seems to be $19 billion, and the listing date seems to be 22nd of October. So third pack which was gaining was the auto pack also. So these were the major highlights of the day. But then crude oil looks a little steady right now. It's $77. But then amid, of course, this particular space has to be watched out amid the geopolitical tensions and all. But the key factors were RBI monetary policy, the Asian markets plummeted again, China plummeted again to the extent of 6%. Hang Seng was on the downside. So these were the key factors which were at the play today. But now, how to approach the markets from here, at least in the sense of index levels? Ruchit is here. Ruchit, hello, welcome to Your Trades. But we saw on Nifty, Bank Nifty both that the kind of resistance level the index had, they have respected those levels, and now Nifty has closed below 25,000. 25,000. What do you have to say? Do market looks shaky? It looks little weak, or is it just that we've reversed the gains which we have built on in last 2 days?
Yeah, hi, very good afternoon. Well, if you look at last 1 week, this market correction from that high of 26,270 has mainly been led, by FI selling. They started this October series with a long short ratio of about 81% in the index future segment. And historically, we have seen that whenever FIs have 80 to 85% range long short ratio, markets make a short term top and we see unwinding after that. And the same history has repeated this time too, where you're seeing unwinding of long positions, some short formations have also been there, and that's why their long short ratio is now even below 50%. But I think until we see this FIs selling getting stopped, I think any pullback moves in the index are likely to witness some resistance as high level. So we do not expect any resumption of the uptrend very soon in the markets. If you look at the weekly charts also, whenever there have been such corrective phases, that corrections usually last for 6 to 8 weeks, and we are just into the second week from this all-time high as of now. So I think for next another 4 to 5 weeks at least, we expect some either time-wise correction or the price-wise correction to continue, and that's why we would witness some selling pressure as we get pullback moves. So one needs to be very stock specific when trading. Look at the outperformers, those sectors or those stocks which are showing outperformance in the corrective market. I think only that's where the strength would continue, such as pharma stocks which we witnessed today. So I think one should look for such pockets. But on the index front, we do not expect any significant up move from here. 25,300, 400, probably maybe that would be significant good amount of resistance coming in there.
Well, Ruchit, even 25, 300 and 400 are seeming like a big jump up from where we are, because we're not managing to hold on to that 25,000 level. So thanks for that view coming in. But like you said, you are spotting pockets of opportunities. So tell us, what are your stock specific picks and where are you seeing value going ahead?
So a couple of names where good strength is seen. One is the entire pharma space. Most of the pharma names, irrespective of what is happening in the broader markets or the benchmark indices, Nifty Pharma index is continuing its high top, high bottom structure when new highs are getting formed. So I think pharma as a sector would continue to do well. Lupin within that space is still looking good. Today, DV's Lab witnessed a breakout and good price volume action. So I think Lupin should see some good momentum from the current levels, where recently the correction which was there was more of a time-based correction. The 40 EMA acted as a support over there. So one can go long on Lupin from a near-term perspective with stop loss below 2220 for potential targets around 2400 kind of levels. And Exide is another name where the stock seems to be completing a corrective phase. Last 2.5 months, the stock has seen some correction, and today that one could see a breakout from the recent swing highs. Also, today's volume, if you see, it's much better than the daily average volume which we are witnessing. So I think Exide can see some pullback, if not new highs. One can go long over here with stop below 500 for expecting targets somewhere in the range of 550 to 560.
Reacted today also when rightly pointed, Ruchit said that the way it has been consolidating now, maybe more up move possible in Exide from here also. Thanks very much, Ruchit, for both the stocks as well as the for your view on the index. Now, moving on, as we gather more cues coming in from the domestic market would be from the quarterly earnings, Q2 earnings, not just back home, even in this would be the bigger trigger from US also, but we starting sectoral moves like from IT, TCS, Erida, they are to report numbers tomorrow. Now, as we enter Q2 earnings, Samir Arora, founder for Hilois Capital, what is he expecting out of the financials to report good numbers? Which are the spaces which is on his radar? What he thinks about IT, consumer space earning? Let's listen in.
I think financials will have good results and IT will have bottoming out kind of results, which means they can say that we see better growth, we see better discretionary growth, we see some BFSI growth, something or the other. And in consumer, the story that because there is monsoon and therefore the rural economy will do better may be true, but that those stocks have already gone up a lot. So there, I think there'll be more confusion whether to look at the results or look at this prospects of better things to follow, only because these numbers are so low. You grow instead of 4-5% growth, you grow 8%. Who cares? It's more interesting to do this new consumer, the Zomato kind of consumer. At least you grow 20, 30, 40%. That's fun.
Okay, that's the word coming in from Samir Arora of Helios Capital. But let's move on, talk about the the big MPC outcome. While the rates were kept steady, there was a shift in stance as well. And in his speech, the governor highlighted some concerns about the NBFC space. He said that some NBFCs are pursuing growth without focusing on risk management framework. Let's go across and listen in to what he had to say about this space and what are the concerns and the pockets of concerns that he's flagging off.
Some NBFCs are aggressively pursuing growth without building up sustainable business practices and risk management frameworks, which should be commensurate with the scale and complexity of their portfolio. An imprudent growth at any cost approach would be counterproductive for their own health. Second, driven by significant accretion to their capital from both domestic and overseas sources, and sometimes under pressure from their investors, some NBFCs, including microfinance institutions and housing finance companies, are chasing excessive returns on their equity. There are certain NBFCs where it is happening bilaterally. We are engaged with them, but I think this is a message which it's important not only for these outliers to keep in mind, but
all right, but he mentioned that the financial sector remains resilient, but he's spoken some concerns about the NBFC space. We'll stay for a short break here. More to come on the other side of the break. We get you the derivative action as well as the big stories of the day.
Hi there, welcome back. Thanks so much for staying tuned to your trades. Let's take a look at how the derivative space has shaped up today. And when I look at the trends for the October expiry, looking to be flat for both Nifty and Nifty Bank, but at least better than what we were seeing yesterday, because we were seeing a long build up on Nifty yesterday and that has now changed to flat. Let's talk about what India VIX did today, and despite the kind of momentum, the volatility and the moves that we were seeing for the benchmarks today, you have India VIX that has fallen 3.2 odd %. So that's looking good, at least for the Indian markets right now. If you take a look at the active calls and active puts for the 10th August expiry, call writing once again being seen at 25,100 and 25,200, the levels that we were spotting yesterday as well. So not much changed on that front. And even for active puts, put writing is being seen at 24,900 and 24,800, making 24,800 the support level to watch out for. This was the same level that we flagged off yesterday as well. So well, these are the levels to watch out for. 25,100 and 200 is where call writing is being seen. 24,800 is the support level to watch out for.
All right, that's the action coming in. So we've seen a flattish kind of trend, at least on now both Nifty and Bank Nifty both. But then, of course, every day the trend has been changing now. What we see, because we need to really wait and watch to understand that what is happening, and that's what Ruchit also told us. But then let's move on and let's get you the big story of the day, which is Hyundai India IPO will open for subscription on October 15th and it will close on 17th of October. Remember that this first automaker to go public since Maruti Suzuki way back in 2003. That means 2 decades. In between 2 decades, there has been no auto IPO which has come in. Now, ahead of the mega IPO, we caught up with Unso Kim, who's the MD for Hyundai Motor India, and listen in to what exactly are their IPO plans.
India is one of the most exciting auto market in the world, and HMI has been performing well for 26 years and is the second largest passenger vehicle OEM in India. So we believe it is the right time for us to take a step forward to further Indianize our operation and become the most trusted brand, home brand in India. IPO will ensure that the HMI is even more dedicated to success in India, and also we are continuing to follow the global standard and practice in terms of governance. Also, IPO will provide the opportunity for local and the global investors to take a part in our growth story.
Okay, well, let's shift away from the IPO and talk about crude prices, because that's also one area where we are seeing some activity in terms of volatile crude prices, and they are keeping select pockets of the market upbeat. Brent is now steady after a 4% cut overnight, and this has come after Iranian-backed Hezbollah signaled support for a ceasefire proposal put forth by Lebanon's government. And on the back of that, OMC's aviation stocks are all abuzz in today's trade, and my colleague Samit is joining in to explain what impact the move in prices could have on these select pockets. Samit.
Yes, Brent crude declined around 5.5% yesterday on an intraday basis, and this drop in Brent crude prices has actually strengthened the thesis that oil marketing companies could continue to earn a stronger gross marketing margin on sale of every liter of petrol and diesel. Now, currently, if you look at the margin that they're earning on petrol is anywhere between 13.5 to 14 odd rupees, while on diesel they're earning anywhere between 10.5 to 11 rupees on every liter. Now, these margins are at a multi-quarter high, and if crude prices continue to remain at a lower level, then the marketing margin profitability could further boost for this oil marketing companies. But such fluctuations in crude oil prices do result into inventory losses also for the oil marketing companies, because crude that has been purchased at a higher price needs to be sold at a lower price if there is such kind of a fall, such kind of an intraday fall that we see when it comes to Brent crude prices. Also, the Singapore gross refining margins continue to remain muted at around $3 per barrel level, so the refining segment profitability could remain impacted. But if crude continues to remain at a lower level, then oil marketing companies marketing segment would see higher profitability. Now, aviation is another sector which has been buzzing on trade because nearly 40% of the cost is crude link, and that is the fuel prices. This lower crude oil prices with the upcoming travel season bodes well for the airline companies, and that's the reason we are seeing such kind of a move when it comes to Indigo and SpiceJet. For SpiceJet, there is another reason also. The company has settled another big dispute in the last 20 days. This time they have settled the dispute with Babcock and Brown Aircraft Management, and this settlement amount was close to, the dispute amount was close to $131.85 million US dollars, that is close to 1100 crore rupees, and this bodes well for the company's balance sheet, given the fact that this will further strengthen the balance sheet after the 3000 crore rupees QIP that the company had done. It will also lead to reduction of debt and stronger growth trajectory for SpiceJet going forward, and that's the reason we are seeing such kind of a move when it comes to SpiceJet in trade.
That's a wrap on the kind of stocks that are run majorly on the ETF and of course the oil prices and the kind of move we've seen on SpiceJet on the recent news. Thanks very much, Somit, for all the details. Now, moving on. Now, why were AMC stocks buzzing in today? They were in focus today on the back of a note by Nomura. Nomura has in fact given a couple of initiation on some of the stocks, HDFC, AMC, Nippon Life. All these stocks closed with more than 2-3% of gain. And now Nomura sees the financialization of savings. That's a big trigger, strong trigger for AMC stocks. Janae is standing by to make us understand more on this note. Janae, over to you.
Well, definitely we have a Nomura note on AMC. It's covering 3 stocks. It has a buy rating on HDFC AMC with target price of 5,000 and Nippon Life with the target price of 785. They also have a neutral stance on UTI AMC, and the target price is set at 1300. Now, what they believe that the industry has a long runway to grow. Also, it's a strong play on financialization of savings. They believe that AMC Industries AUM will grow at a strong CAGR of 18% over FY24 to FY30. They believe that the growth of ETFs will continue to be driven by institutional flows. Also, the core operating profitability is likely to moderate, although this will be a gradual movement.
All right, Janae, thank you so much for taking us through that. So, AMCs were in focus on the back of that positive note, bullish note coming in from Nomura. But let me also take it across to my colleague Gaurav, who's standing by with a list of all the stocks that were abuzz in today's trading session, either on the back of Q2 updates or individual news flows. Gaurav.
Well, yes, let's begin our list with rides, because the company has now signed an MOU with Etihad Rail. With this, the company will be looking out for opportunities for development in UAE. As a result, we saw some sharp uptick in this counter. Up next we have is Torrent Power, and the reason being is that company has now received letter of award from MSC DCL for, this is actually a long-term contract, and with this they will be supplying around 2000 megawatt of energy storage capacity. As a result, company is also saying that the annual revenue estimate is going to be above 1600 crore rupees from this project. As a result, we saw some uptick in this counter as well. Next we have is KPIT Tech, and the reason being is that strategic investment has been announced from the company. They will be investing and increasing their stake almost by 13% in Endream, which is a cloud-based game aggregator platform. For this, they will be paying around $30 million. Up next we have is Divis Lab, because Citi has now initiated with buy rating and a target price of 6,400 on this counter. What they say is that this is actually a preferred pick in the pharma segment, because they see that it is going to be a key beneficiary of the supply chain diversification. Lastly, let's also focus on Escorts Kubota, because MK has now upgraded the rating to buy, and they have also hiked the target price to 4,700 rupees. They believe that company can actually grow their EPS almost by 16% in the next 3 years, and they also believe that the stock is actually trading at a discount if we compare it with its peers. As a result, we saw some uptick in this counter as well. So definitely watching out on all these counters on the back of the brokerage note as well as the news flow that has come throughout the day.
Gaurav, thanks very much for the complete wrap on the stocks. They were buzzing on the back of the news and the brokerage notes. Well, that's all in this edition of Your Trades. Top cues to start coming in from as we start the Q2 earning. TCS, Irida, these two stocks would be especially eyed on. Thanks so much for watching this edition of Your Trades.
There comes a time when your heart calls for you to arise. Plant your feet solid into the ground. Decide your own limits. And then break right through them. Become something more. It's my time to rise.